Hi, fourth graders. It's Mrs. Quinn, and I am going to be explaining how to do your workplaces. Now, I want you to listen carefully because I'm going to actually kind of modify some of your workplaces, change them up a little bit, because I know you're used to being at school and you can grab your folder and grab your partner, and there's game boards there. Now that you're at home, I have created some of the game boards, and I have some real creative ways that you can kind of use what you have at home to play these games. So today, what I'm going to explain to you is we're in Unit 4, and we're going to be looking at 4A and 4B. And I want to talk a little bit about like computer games or computer activity. So I'm actually going to start with this one. So what you can do at home is you can go right to mathlearningcenter.org. And you don't need to log in. This is something you can do anytime with your family. And when you go there, you want to go to resources, and there's something called math apps. The math apps takes you to like online tools or digital tools, and you can use them to play with the math games or kind of make up your own even. So today, for example, I'm going to go into this one on number pieces. But as you can see, there's pattern blocks, and you can play with different patterns and use pattern blocks to show different fractions or angles. There's number line. What else do we have? Money and clock. So again, that's just a math app. When you go there, let me show you the number pieces. When you go there, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to choose Open Web App. Then as soon as you do that, you can just drag them over and start using them. They're just like what we have in class, but the digital version. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I want to show you is when you, let's see, let's go back here. Okay, so to get to the math apps, we went to resources, but there's something over here called home learning. And when you click on home learning, you're going to choose 4 for fourth grade. And then you have some choices up here. There's an activity of the day. Those are all really fun. Practice pages, very similar to your actual student book if you don't have your Bridges student book with you. Then there's family games and online games. So if you go to family games, it'll actually take you, when you go to fourth grade, it will take you to this game, for example, Target 1000. It's just like what I'm going to be showing you for the workplace game. And they give you this cutout where you could like cut these cards out to make number cards. So you could use these cards, or if you notice in the picture, this is what I do with my own son, Tommy. Um, we don't have dice and we don't have some of these things at home. So what he actually does is just he takes index cards and he writes the numbers on index cards. So instead of the decks of cards that we have at school, we make our own with index cards or sticky notes. But the other neat thing is if you ever are playing a game and you need a dice, if you put 1 through 6 on note cards, instead of rolling the dice, you could flip over a card. So instead of rolling 3, you could select 3, the card number 3. The other thing I wanted to tell you is there's a virtual dice online. So if you ever needed that, if you type in virtual dice, you can get some. And website will also give you some, different ideas that you can do. So this last part is online games. So when you go to fourth grade, some of these are tricky if you don't have Adobe, but I noticed that these two, and you've got fractions coming up soon, so it might be really great to kind of practice and kind of try a few things, but these two are both really fun. The fraction fling, when you click on it, it's going to take you here. and it's actually like a slingshot. So you're going to be looking at this fraction. For example, this is 2 are shaded out of the 6. So then you look for the bubble that is 2/6, and you use the slingshot, and you pop the bubble. So, okay, we know this one. We had a pizza, you and me, 1/2. So we're looking for 1/2. Oh, there it is. Didn't get it. Oh, I didn't get that one. All right, I need to go a little higher. Let me just wait for it to come. Let's see. Oh, the slingshot's crazy. Oh, there it is. Okay, come on. Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Quinn will get the next one. I'm lined up now. Okay, 1/2. Yes. You can see that's really fun. So, and then the other one, this is like a bingo game. And then really, this is the fourth grade games, but if you go to third grade games, it's always good to practice your multiplication facts. So this is a really fun one with multiplication. I'll show you real quick and you'll get the hang of this one. Middle, you're going to see so 9. Okay, what multiplication gets 9? And we're going to turn around. Oh, there it is. 18. You turn it with arrows. And then the space bar is where you can blast it. And then it keeps going and going. All right, so again, just like you do math games at school, that was kind of like if you choose for that day to do some computer activities. And that's also where the online tools are that you can access without logging in. Now, as a teacher, I'm going to show you Workplace 4A and 4B, and you are going to watch to learn the game. But instead of using this game board, I created one on Google Docs. So your teacher will just share it with you. So if you see here, this is Workplace 4A and it's called Target 1000. And basically, let me move these cards down. If you notice on the game board, you have like this is round 1, this number plus this number equals, then this is where you write the sum, you write the score, and you write your partner score. So this game board is mine that I'm showing you online, but I made you one in a Google Doc. So you can print this, or you could type right on it if you're playing, or you could just use some scratch paper and you can write the same thing. But basically, these games are fun to play by yourself if you don't have a partner, but you could always call somebody from your class, or you could play with maybe a sibling or a parent. So, kind of keep that in mind for different ideas. All right, so let's go back to this game. So, here's how you're going to play. You're going to make your cards. Like I said, if you don't have a deck of cards, then you can just take index cards or sticky notes or, paper and cut it up. And you want to write the numbers. For this game, you actually need 1 through 9, 0 through 9, excuse me. You do not need any wild cards or like number 10. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to deal 8 cards. So we have 8 cards here. Now you're only going to use 6 of them. So you want to decide which 6 you want to use. So I'm going to put this 0 off to the side and the 6 off to the side. I'll put it down here. I have my wild card off to the side. I'm not going to use that right now. All right, so you are going to rearrange these cards and you are going to make a 3-digit number. You want to add the first 3-digit number to the second 3-digit number and get as close as you can to 1,000. You kind of played this game before, but you had to go to 100. But this is a little different. You want to get to 1,000. So you can kind of switch these numbers around. So right now, 7 is in the hundreds place, 5 is in the tens place, and 1 is in the ones place. But if I added 751, well, I know 700 plus 600, that's way over 1,000. So 751 plus 681 will be way over. All right, let's see. Well, 861, that's not a good choice either if this is 700. Oh, but look at this. I could just do a quick switch. I put the 1 there. That would get me pretty close. Ooh, or I could even do this. Let's see. Okay, so now I have 175. Oh gosh, I'm afraid if I did this, I'd go over too much. 861. 861. So let me just flip it around. So now I have an 8 in the hundreds place, a 1 in the tens place, and a 6 in the ones place. So 175 plus 816. Huh, I think that's going to get me pretty close. Now, what I did, remember I showed you those tools, is I actually used this to kind of help me out. So I moved over 800s over here for this number, 816, and 816. And I moved over 100s flat for the 100 and 175. So those are over here. And then what I did is for this 75, for the 70, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the hundreds are here. But so for the 16, I have a 10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I can easily see that if I move over 5 of these, then I can make a 10 with 1 left over. So now if I add this up, let's see. So I know I have 9 here, so that's 900. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 91. So this would be 991. Oh, that is good. Mrs. Quinn is super close to 1,000. All right, so I think I have it right here. Okay, so 175 plus 816 equals 991. So my sum, 991. And to get the score, you would figure out how close you are or the difference, like how close you are to 1,000. So I am off by 9. So that'd be my score. So then eventually your partner would go, and before you know it, this would all be filled up. So you would add your final score, which would be all of these added up, your partner's final score, which would be all those added up. And the person that wins would be the person that has the lowest number. That means you were closest to 1,000. All right, so that is the game Target 1,000. Now, let's look at the next one. This is Workplace 4B, Add, Round, and Compare. So for this one, you're going to use the cards again, the ones you've made, or maybe if you have a deck of cards. And you're just going to pick 3. Oh, but we're not going to use the tens or the wilds. Let's try that again. Okay, so I'm going to use 1, and I'm going to use 2, and I'm going to use 0. Now, you can rearrange these numbers. This time, what you're going to do is you are going to, by just using these 3 cards, you're going to make 2 different numbers just by using these 3. So for example, I could do 120 plus 102. I could do, I could do 201 plus 102. That's what I'm going to do. Oh gosh, I should have written it down. Okay, let me get my pencil. I'm sorry. Hang on 1 minute. Let's see. How do I get my pencil? Okay. So I think that I said I was going to do 200. Doesn't really like the two. Let me try that again. Okay, so 201 plus 102. Now I'm going to add these up, and there's different ways that you can do that. If you want to use some scratch paper, you could. My actual answer is 303. Now here I'm going to round my numbers to the nearest 100. So 201 rounded, well, we know you're probably thinking in your head right now, that's going to be 200. And then 102 rounded is going to be 100. So if I add those together, I get 300. My rounded numbers are very close to my actual numbers. So the difference between the actual sum and the rounded sum, my actual is 303. Now it gets a little tricky because now you're going to be subtracting, okay? So 303 minus 300. Write a pencil, it'll be a lot easier. Oh, and the difference is 3. So you want to get as close as you can. And that's why you're going to have lots of fun kind of rearranging those numbers. Okay, so you're going to deal 3 cards. With those 3 cards, you're going to make 2 different numbers. Actual numbers you will add together. Then you will round it to the nearest 100, add them up, and get the difference. Again, when you're done, the person with the lowest number, they're the winner, because you want your rounded numbers to be as close as you can to your actual numbers, which means you have to really think about what you want your actual numbers to be by moving them around with the place value. And then you will add them up, and then you'll round them, and you'll add them up, and you'll compare. All right. Going back to right here, this was workplaces with 4A, 4B, and computer activity. All right, have lots of fun.